most problems you have to deal with that are deep rooted take time. And the problem is you can't be right now. So you have to build up a level of trust so that people can trust you to wait the time. You see it often in marketing too, right? Not every marketing campaign pays off in a week. Some do, depends on what you're doing. And a specific campaign might pay off in a week. But generally speaking, it takes time before the campaigns pay off. So now what happens? Well, success, as you know, never is a straight line, right? It's a wiggly line as you go up. So when you're on one of those down parts, does everybody go, oh, now you're terrible. Look, we're on a down part. The world's ending. Shut it all down. Or do you go, give me another week. Give me a month. It goes down sometimes. It'll go back up. So there's a trust level you have to achieve to where people will actually do that. And generally speaking, trust comes from being consistent. And this is basic stuff, right? If I'm around you and you see me often, and you and I don't fight, we don't have a problem, you don't shove me, you don't spit my eye, please don't spit my eye, but you don't do any of those things, right? What happens is we begin to trust each other just because we're around each other. And I know that if I'm hanging around you, bad things don't happen. Okay, I trust them. And one of the ways we do that is by things like this. I call this the Oprah Effect. What do I mean by that? If you've ever watched Oprah on TV or in a movie or wherever, when she meets somebody in the news, she always hugs them. They always hug her. And you say, why would you hug her? You don't know her. You've never met her before in your life. Why would you walk up and hug this woman? You've never met her. The problem is they've seen her on TV when she had her TV show, right? I'm in my 50s. So Oprah was a big deal when I was coming up, right? So at that point, everyone saw Oprah, 4 or 5 times a week in the living room every day. So they felt like they trusted and they knew her. So they'd meet her and they'd want to hug her. And Oprah figured this out. So she would see people and just start hugging people, even though she had no idea who they were. Yeah. It's similar level of trust, being consistent, hearing the same things. There are reasons why in America, both left and right, why people really trusted Bernie Sanders and why people really trusted Trump. And that's left and right. And the reason why they trusted both of them is because they saw them all the time and they were consistent all the time. They were always saying the same things all the time. So people naturally began to trust both of these people. Just because they saw them. So if you lean left, you probably trusted Bernie. If you lean right, you probably trusted Trump. But that's just how it worked. I think we as individuals have to be the same way. People should see us. And if we're in a world where we're in a physical building, right, prior to the COVID lockdowns, most people were in physical buildings. You should be around a lot. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I was in the Marines for 7 years. We had something called LBWA, leadership by walking around. And that means be seen, right? Just be seen. Let people, don't sit in your office, be seen, be around. That's a whole lot harder now that a lot of us are in lockdown, but it means a whole lot more Zoom calls or whatever you can possibly do, or even just content. Now I'm insane. I produce about 8 to 10 hours of live content every single week. That's insanity. I know I'm crazy, but I produce so much content so that people can trust me and feel like, okay, Larry's been saying the same thing for years. He's the same guy. He's trustworthy. If I start some kind of campaign that begins to fail, I hope I've gained enough trust where they just go, all right, we'll give him another week or two. And I think that works in business, or even, again, if you're a small marketing company and you're competing against the big guys, remember that if you're a small marketing company competing against more popular people, it depends upon who you're selling to. If you're selling to another individual, he or she is the owner, right? It's their money. You have a higher chance of getting that deal than selling towards a large a group of people, a panel of people, right? Where there's 3 or 4 or 5 people and it's not their money. They're hired to do this. Why? Because when the individual is picking you, it's their money. They care. Their goal is to not waste their time, to not waste their money. When a panel is picking you, what their goal is to not get fired. That's true. It's not get fired. So if they pick the cheapest, they save money. But if they pick the most popular, then if they fail, it's not their fault. They pick the most popular. So this is why it's always harder to sell to a panel if you're a smaller company. But how do you get around that? You get around that by being known. Generally speaking, in today's world, that is social media, social media, social media, social media. Doing podcasts like this, right? Listening and talking and learning, being able to speak the right buzzwords, doing your own social media whenever you can, being active. If they Google you and can't find you, that's a problem,
Yeah,
right? You Google Larry
absolutely.
Sharp, I'm the first 3 pages.